Have you noticed yet that people sweep things under the emotional rug? And then when they sweep those things under the emotional rug, they transfer that negativity to you. And so a lot of people, no matter what walk of life, no matter what social economic tier, so many of them have a kind of fakeness and an artificiality because it's too painful and uncomfortable to confront the intrinsic tragedy of existence, which is that we're all going to die, and the intrinsic discomfort of our humanity, which is a spectrum of blues, of feelings of sadness and resentment and insecurity. And all of these things can be addressed and confronted so that we can have healthier relationships. But so many people do not want to confront it. So therefore, you are left with a kind of toxicity. And then the other issue is that there's this can't beat them, so I'll join them sort of mentality that we all have. I'm here. Hopefully, I can be an encourager for you to snap out of the can't beat them, join them mentality. And because what I want for you is to have the best kind of energy inside yourself. And I want it for selfish reasons. I want it because you will treat me better as a result. You will treat other people better as a result. And if you treat those other people better, and if you treat me better, we'll all treat each other better, thus making the stress of life, the stress and discomfort and pain of life much less, I was going to say much more tolerable, but even more than, not even tolerable, it's life, since life is intrinsically unfair, why should we make it any unfairer? You know what I'm saying? Since life is intrinsically painful, why should we be adding to the pain? And it's all so much easier said than done, but that's why we gotta have church. Gotta have church, man. We gotta talk about this, and that's what I'm doing. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. If you are trying to avoid an uncomfortable feeling, a painful feeling, I want to encourage you to confront it, to allow it to rise to the surface. Cry, please, for the love of God. Let the tears flow. Let the tears flow and converse with people about it. See, now the issue is that the quality conversations are far and few in between. So many people you speak with don't actually have an interest in you. That's another thing with the ADD-ishness of everybody, the way that they converse. I be peeping it, man. I be sitting back. I suffer from a kind of ADD-ishness myself, but I guess I will pat myself on the back and say I do have an undivided attention when I speak with people about what matters. To the best of my ability, I'm giving an undivided attention. But I'm super ADD-ish, very much so. But I've noticed that nobody's actually listening to each other. Everyone is just competing and waiting for their chance to talk, like double dutch. You know, all right, so let me get my chance, let me give a chance. And again, I say that as somebody who suffers from that. I'll even be, when I'm on the phone with my best friend and we're having a conversation, I'll see it in myself that I'm like, dude, I'm telling myself, like, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and listen to what he's saying. Because I'm just so eager to communicate what's on my mind. But you have to fucking call yourself out on that and actually listen to what somebody that you care about, someone that matters, listen to what they're saying. And listening to what they're saying has so much tremendous value. So it's not even about doing it performatively, because then when I do force myself to listen, shut the fuck up and listen, there's benefit to it. There's lessons to be learned. There's more to talk about, because if you take as seriously what the other person is taking seriously, if you allow yourself to consider what the other person's saying, if it matters to you as much as it matters to them, in that moment for you at least, you don't have to carry it with you after the conversation, but in that moment, if you can get yourself to care about it just as much as they care, it becomes very interesting. It becomes a case study. It becomes like detective work. Like, let's solve, like, what's up? Let's solve this. This is interesting. So this is going on. That's going on. This person's this way. That person's that way. Interesting. Interesting. How can we solve this case? How can we be better? What solutions are there? What analysis is there to be had? It's also fucking interesting if we allow it to be. It's also fucking interesting. But so many people are only concerned with themselves, and we are all naturally self-centered. It's very organic to be self-centered. But I believe that we have to find a way to be self-centered in such a way that we are serving each other as well as serving ourselves. I need to be self-centered in a way that benefits not just me, but other people. Because no matter how much I resent people and no matter how much I want to do my own thing, people matter and people have the potential to be awesome. I do have a kind of a misanthropic outlook on people, which is a hate or just a misanthrope is someone who has a hate or distrust towards mankind. I have a basic kind of aggravation with the average American due to the average way of thinking and the average way of being. However, I am always shown how wrong I am when I engage with anyone individually. When I look at the crowd and the herd mentality, I'm like sickened and I'm like, you're all dumb as fuck. But then when I ever talk to anybody one-on-one, I am so delighted. I'm like, oh, you are receptive and open to healthy conversation. You can be transparent, emotionally naked. You can talk about things that matter to you. You can go spiritual. You can go deeper. We can talk about stuff in a more intellectual and cerebral way. We can. It's just that when I see people talk on their own, it's just no one's challenging anybody, and so that's why I don't see it. But I do see it when someone gives me their receptivity and when someone has an openness to discussion. I'm like, all right, there's hope. I'm always filled with hope. I'm like, okay, it's not so hopeless after all. There's possibility that everybody can move towards a betterment and optimization that will increase the probability of harmony and healthiness and mental health and all that good stuff. So I do have hope. I do have hope. I am like a hopeful pessimist but I don't like the overall perspective that the average American has, where all that matters is the surface level and people are in the highest status stakes. What matters is status. Your credibility is based off of what school you went to, what kind of job you have, how beautiful you are, how much money you have. Like, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. Like that, all that stuff is fine if you don't give a fuck about having kind of actual connection. But if you want real human connection, real human connection, you have to have a commitment to authenticity. And you have to have a commitment to, I believe, a kind of mindfulness and awareness, a sensitivity. And you have to acknowledge that humans are humans. And when it comes to being a human, the way that we connect is by being vulnerable, transparent, and having discussions about that which matters and having a mutual interest in somebody's well-being. And you have to reciprocate and have a mutual interest in theirs. But it won't come if we're not getting our rest, our nourishment, our physical activity, and we won't have those healthy conversations unless we put massive amounts of effort into it, unless we're okay with being uncomfortable. But if there's always a commitment to peace, we'll be all right. Anyway, hey, look, I just want to rant a bit and encourage you to be the best version of yourself, not just for others, but for yourself, and not just for yourself, but for others. All right.